You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. If you've been wondering if you may be carrying around COVID-19, you now have a chance to find out, as most of the state's tribes and several counties have already jumped in on community surveillance testing. Riverstone Health will offer it next weekend here in Billings. Health officials tell us they have 2,000 tests as of right now, but there could be more tests and testing days in the future. Public testing will take place from 9 a.m. until noon next Saturday, June 20th, in the upper parking lot at Metro Park. Now, community testing across the state is part of Governor Steve Bullock's reopening plan for Montana. A doctor's order is not needed. However, only people without COVID-19 symptoms and the ability to swirl a Q-tip like swab in each nostril will be tested. The testing will help public health do a better job of preventing community spread of the virus. It's not an antibody test, so it will only indicate if an individual has the virus at the time, not if they've had the virus in the past.
You would expect that the numbers of positive would be very small, but you wouldn't expect it to be zero. And so that does help, because we know there's people who are asymptomatic who are positive for the disease. And so it kind of helps us get a little handle on what might be going on, and also, again, to get an early jump on contact tracing and prevention of further outbreaks.
Riverstone Health will notify all Yellowstone County participants of their test results. Again, that testing scheduled for June 20th. That's next Saturday at Metro Park from 9 until noon, or until those 2,000 tests run out. Bighorn County health officials tell Q2 there are no new confirmed tests today. 15 people have recovered. There are now just 8 confirmed active cases there in the county. Elsewhere in Montana, the state confirms 10 new cases. Gallatin County reported 18 recoveries, though, this afternoon. Between the two communities, the confirmed active cases across Montana have now been cut in half. And an update, state lab test results came back negative for 2 inmates at Montana Women's Prison. The women tested presumptive positive on Tuesday. The Department of Corrections says the state will conduct more investigation due to the conflicting test results. Well, heading into a hot weekend, pools will likely be popular destinations. Billings City pools have been open for more than a week under phase 2 of reopening guidelines. Rose Park, along with South Park pools, can operate at 75% capacity. Distancing is required in and out of the pool locker rooms, restrooms, and showers are being disinfected. Shower time is also limited, according to the Yellowstone County Health Office.
Pools are still good. As of now, we know of no confirmed cases that have been transmitted at the swimming pool or anything like that. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but it just hasn't been documented. So we have to be careful. And that just means doing what we're doing, keeping socially or physically distanced at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings. I know it sounds strange, but it makes a lot of sense. I've been to the pools too, and I've seen them spraying down the handrails and the doorknobs and things. And that's really what we need to do. We need to rely on each other.
Wading pools at Pioneer and Hawthorne Parks open Monday, also at 75% capacity. Spray grounds at North, Terry, Highland, and Castle Rock Parks will not open until phase 3. Well, with more states reopening, that also means more people will be traveling. Now, medical professionals are offering some safety advice for those looking to get out and spread their wings during the pandemic. MTN's Marin Sue breaks down why traveling in your car is safer.
People traveling to Montana, and also Montanans traveling to other places and then returning, are frankly our biggest risk of having a significant outbreak here.
Dr. Doug Nelson, Chief Medical Officer at Kalispell Regional Hospital, says while travel restrictions have relaxed in Montana, tourists should take precautions to prevent the spread of the virus. He says if you choose to travel by car is the safest option.
If you travel in a car, stop to get gas, hand sanitize before and after using the gas tank, wear a mask if you go into the convenience store to get something to eat or drink, hand sanitize after you get back before you touch your face or do anything like that. You can reduce your risk to virtually nil.
Dr. Nelson says that if you choose to travel by public transportation, whether that's by plane, train, or bus, your risk of infection is higher. And he stresses the importance of having a mask and proper hand sanitization.
Limit your close exposure to other people. That's pretty limited what you can do if it's a full airplane, because you're packed in pretty closely. Airplanes do have air sanitization systems, but in particular if the person next to you is coughing or sneezing, that's not going to help you a whole lot if you don't have those personal protective things on, like a mask and hand sanitization.
Dr. Nelson says it's important that everyone do what they can to prevent the spread of the virus. In Whitefish, Marin Siu, MTN News.
Montana's 14-day quarantine for out-of-state travelers or residents arriving from another state or country was lifted on June 1st. One man is dead. 2 people are in custody, and an investigation is underway after a homicide in Central Billings overnight. Police were called to a home at 612 Terry Avenue just after 1 o'clock this morning, where they found a 36-year-old Billings man dead from an apparent stab wound. About an hour later, the Yellowstone County Sheriff's deputy pulled over a suspect vehicle in Lockwood and arrested 37-year-old Dustin Rodarte and 38-year-old Charlotte Rodarte. They were taken into custody on probation violations. At this time, no formal charges have been filed directly related to the homicide. Well, the president of what's become Montana's largest labor union is stepping down after 36 years on the job. Eric Fever, the head of the Montana Federation of Public Employees, has also been a key player in the state political scene and in many issues involving public schools, workers, and public policy. MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison caught up with Fever on his last day in the office.
Eric Fever came to Helena in 1974. And during his first week as a history teacher, a colleague had a message for him.
I was sitting at my desk at Helena Junior High. It was like the first or second day of my job as a teacher there. And a guy came in and said, you know, folks around here joined the union, and handed me a membership form. I said, oh, well, I want to do what folks around here do. And so I signed the form.
By 1982, he was vice president of the Montana Education Association, and 2 years later became its president. MEA has 6,000 members then. Now, after 2 mergers with other unions, it has a new name and 23,000 members, including teachers and school workers, university faculty, thousands of state workers, and local police and law enforcement, among others. Fever says all during his tenure, he encouraged the union to be politically engaged.
We will actively attempt to elect people who will support public schools, public institutions, employees, retirement benefits, fair salaries.
He says if workers want better pay and benefits and working conditions, they need to be organized, now more than ever. Yet the former teacher says he's especially proud of what his union did to improve school accreditation and teacher standards in Montana. And now he says it must play a role in helping bring kids back to school this fall in the wake of closures brought on by the coronavirus pandemic.
I think our schools are excellent on balance, but they now face a very serious impediment to delivering that excellence going forward.
In politics, the union mostly works to elect Democrats because, Fever says, they more strongly support what the union supports: public institutions, organized labor, good government, and paying for the government that people want. He says he'll still be working for those ideals, but not as union president. He's stepping down and will be succeeded by former state representative and teacher Amanda Curtis. On Friday morning, however, Fever still had a few hours left to occupy the office across the street from the Capitol, where he's been since 1984. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Well, Fever is also a Vietnam combat veteran serving as an Army medic in 1969. Today, Governor Bullock announced $8.7 million in federal grants will be allocated to education services across the state. The allocation comes from the governor's Emergency Education Relief Fund, which is separate from the CARES Act. The Montana University system received $6.5 million. Well, the Montana Digital Academy received $230,000 to expand enrollment opportunities for students. Several colleges received funding, including Rocky Mountain College, which received $60,000. The Montana State Library also received $500,000. Grants were evaluated based on need. K-12 schools in Montana have already been allocated $41 million through the Federal Elementary and Secondary School Relief Fund. Well, one local business is doing well in spite of trying to open shop during a pandemic. And the owner says she has the community to thank. Q2's Jenny Fick has the story.
Growing up enjoying Grand Bagel, Bonnie Perkins realized a hole had been left after their closure and said somebody should start making bagels. So she decided to be that somebody.
In Billings' newest bagel shop, the sourdough bagel.
United by roller derby, now
I was very, very fortunate in that I got to be a part of Bonnie's experimentation with the bagels. So she's like, tell me what your favorite flavors are and will you taste these? Who doesn't want to spend the day slinging bagels with two of their best friends?
The sourdough bagel is filling a large need.
We have people thank us all the time for opening. Either they're on their way to court or they're on the way to work, and it's very important to those people an experience. We want them to start their day off great. We want to know their names when they come in and know what their usual is.
We boil them before we bake them, which gives them that nice crust.
Through this process, the sourdough bagel is even filling some needs they didn't know existed. They have had a very positive response from the Jewish community in Billings.
Really flattered. I've been invited to Yom Kippur and, to bring them bagels for that. And I don't know, it's really touching.
Her dream would be to eventually expand.
Franchise, but maybe not say they have to pay me, but give people instructions on the bagel cart, give them my recipe, have like little sourdough bagels all over the country.
Open for a little over a month, continuing to sell out regularly.
Actually thinking of putting a game camera, like for wild game.
Similar to an eagle hatch cam in real time.
Like the bagels aren't all beautiful. They're all handmade. They don't all come out perfect. Our hands are in it. We are sharing our love.
I have little kid customers who call me Bonnie Bagels. Like we say this is a no sorry zone. Because sometimes when people are waiting in line and they get up and they don't know what they want and they say, sorry, and we say, no, like take your time. We don't want you to feel sorry for existing here.
Come in and they're paying it forward for the healthcare workers, the police and firefighters, for all the grocery store and gas attendant folks. And it's been really, really awesome to see that side of Billings.
In downtown Billings, Jenny Fick, MTN News.
All right, thank you, Jenny. The sourdough bagel is located at 219 North 29th Street. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, a warm one, and if you want to check out a movie but are still looking to social distance, you can head to the drive-in. Starting tonight through June 18th, the amusement park drive-in between Billings and Laurel is doing $10 for a car for the movie Twister. Twister, of course, is a classic action film from 1996. And it's one of two movies playing at the drive-in this weekend. American Graffiti is the other film playing, but it'll be the same price as usual. And for more information, you can go to ktvq.com. Well, there will be fireworks in Laurel this 4th of July, but this year is a bit of a catch. Instead of overseeing one big show from Thompson Park this year, firefighters will be doing small individual shows from their own homes. Starting at 10:30, the fire department and the Laurel Chamber of Commerce invite you to step out of your house and look up. You can even join in on the festivities with your own fireworks. Just remember to be safe. And fingers crossed that the big celebration will return again next year. Still ahead on the MTN 9 o'clock news, a 101-year-old World War II veteran with a goal of meeting all 50 governors makes a stop here in Montana. We'll meet him. But first, the heat is on, and Bob's in next with your full forecast. We're back in a minute.